Yep.
Microphone check 1, 2.
Let's get it.
We are live. You know we weren't gonna miss this one. Oh,
That's
a lot going on.
It's a lot going on in the world,
Yeah.
man. But before we start, how you doing, man? How you feeling?
I'm good. How you feeling? Shout out to all the pandas. Let me get some pandas in chat. But how you feeling?
I'm good, man. I can't complain. Running around.
Run the city. These are just jokes written by 85 South.
Written by 85
DC
South.
Young Fly.
All right, man. So we got a lot to talk about. It's a lot of valuable lessons
for sure
on so many different components of this story. So we're gonna talk about it. Before we start, Earn Your Leisure, we got an episode coming out tomorrow, 6 o'clock with Ralph McDaniel. Shout out to Ralph McDaniel, Video Music Box, OG in the game, legend in the game, pioneer in hip hop culture. As I said on Market Mondays, he actually shot Nas's first video. It ain't hard to tell. And he shot Wu-Tang Clan's first video.
Like the foundation for BET, MTV.
That's a fact.
Pioneer.
That's
pioneer.
Yep. TRL, all that, like that.
106 in Park. Without him, that would be that.
That's a fact. That's a fact. Okay. Any announcements, Ian?
Happy birthday to my brother Brett on the birth of your baby. Love y'all. Happy birthday to my brother Zaire Franklin of the Colts. Love you, my brother. And if I made you money, please put yes in chat. Let's get right to it.
Okay. Do we want to start with a financial topic first, or just go right into it?
Sure.
Okay. Obviously, everybody.
In the comments, we are live. You want the financial topic first, or get right to the
topic? This is actually live. So
yeah, we live.
We let you decide it. Y'all want the financial news
this
first?
Is not AI either. Y'all kept telling me it's a fake background. Nah,
he said, let's get to it. The diddler.
Let's get to it. What are the lessons that we need? Because we got to clean up the culture. We all have had a bunch of texts and conversations. From a business perspective, where did all of this go wrong, and how can we stop this? Because the thing that I think could come from this is the party's going to keep going on, but with somebody else.
Is that figuratively or literally?
Figuratively.
Well, okay. Since we're going to dive right
into the financial topic.
One financial topic. Open AI?
For sure.
Okay. So what's up with this Open AI, Robin? Shout out to the good folks at Robinhood.
Shout out to Vlad.
The real Vlad. Friend of the show. They made news by saying that they were going to give people an opportunity to invest in Open AI and SpaceX. So obviously, that's something that's very interesting to investors, because if you know anything about Open AI or SpaceX, they're privately held companies, right? So you don't have an opportunity. The average person doesn't have an opportunity to invest in a privately held company. And obviously, SpaceX and OpenAI, the two most
hottest.
Yeah, that and probably Anduril, like those are like
Starlink. Yep.
Coveted. When they hit the stock market, everybody's clamoring around OpenAI and SpaceX. But then OpenAI came out and said, not so fast.
Yep. And I've been saying this for the last 2 or 3 years. The tech wars for the ruler of 2030 is heating up. OpenAI, Robinhood, Anduril, Palantir, Meta. Mark Zuckerberg is giving salaries of $100 million a year with $300 million bonuses to people to leave OpenAI, and he got 9 of them. That shit look like an AU recruiting list
That's
that
a
came out
fact.
this morning.
That's a
These
fact.
wars are worth hundreds of billions of dollars. So I'm willing to pay this money. So even with the Robinhood situation, they're trying to carve out more market share by democratizing pre-IPO investing, which is amazing. But if I'm OpenAI, I'm not going to let you do that. These shares are too valuable. And arguably, OpenAI will be the Microsoft of AI, especially after they find a way to decouple and go public. I'm not going to let you tokenize my securities and put them onto an open market and have you let you ride any of my brand loyalty or market share that I built for your gain. No.
You know, it's interesting. You bring up a good point because, okay, Steph Curry, the greatest shooter of all time, right? One of the greatest basketball players of all time, probably top 10 for sure, maybe top 5. So, last year he made $55 million with Golden State. His name is Jiahui, and his last name is YU.
We're gonna call him AI Hova.
Yeah. Who is he?
One of the most valuable people. Yeah.
Put in chat. Who is he? Who is JU? Who is JLU? Who's JLU?
This fool, Jim Jones. All in.
Oh,
what? 110 on the wake up? What?
JLU reportedly recruit. We talking about recruitment, right? Meta reportedly paid him $100 million to leave OpenAI.
Yep, on a wake up.
Signing bonus.
So when I keep telling you how valuable OpenAI and ChatGPT is and this war is, if they're willing to pay one person that amount of money, if the average investor is expecting a 50x return over a 15-year cycle, how much money is he expecting to make off of that one person? Automation is here. Been screaming it. But meanwhile, they're telling us to learn how to code. I'm like, the coding job. Microsoft laid off 7,000 people. They're never going to, even with the democratization of finance and opportunities. I know Robinhood got killed for the Citadel partnership. Meanwhile, other brokerages had the same partnership with Citadel. Capital markets are not meant to be given to us. That's why they keep putting the arrow on Vlad's back.
The real Vlad.
The real. That's the other one, but the real.
Just so we're clear.
Well, it's two real Vlads. Vlad from Robinhood and Putin, chief.
Facts. There's two. Vladimir Putin.
Yeah. Cannot forget him. Ooh, what?
And Vlad Tenev.
Richest man on the planet.
The only Vlads we acknowledge.
Mm-hmm.
No, but I mean, I think it puts things in perspective, right? Where we talking about Cooper Flan is going to become the first $1 billion athlete as far as while he's still playing from a contract. From a contract. They said by the time he's 32 years old, he's going to have $1 billion contract. Right? We just saw Shea Gilchrist getting, what is he, $70 million a year?
Yeah, something like that.
Yep. So, okay, so the level of, man, if you guys are not investing, it's almost over. That's why when Key said we got 1 year left, they giving somebody $100 million signing bonus to leave OpenAI to go to Meta. Somebody that nobody's ever heard of. He walks down Times Square, not one person can recognize him. He doubled Steph Curry's salary
in 1 year.
Think about everything Steph Curry had to do to make $50 million last year.
Public service announcement. If you're a trader or investor, keep your proprietary, and it's the last time I'm going to say it, keep your proprietary information off of any large language models that you do not own or not locally stored, because your IP will end up in somebody's software. Not Robinhood's, but maybe Aladdin. Or you'll see your indicators pop up in a few places that they were not supposed to be because you had not read your terms of service. Be mindful and be careful. Yo, what's the new futures target? Cut it out 2 years ago. Nope. Figure it out. Go to the ocean and count the waves. I'm not, no. Fuck it. No. Because if large language models are worth this, what is this is worth for the stock market and the crystal ball? Nope. Won't do it. Some of y'all try it. Won't do it. So you can put your GAN levels and your fib levels in there. You're going to see that shit pop up on TradingView. Be careful. But what do I know?
And what does this say about the space of artificial intelligence if they're willing to pay one person $100 million?
And my assumption is if Zuckerberg spent that on the metaverse, which was a fail, he's going to triple down on this AI space to recoup that loss and get a lead. This is why I'm so fucking mad at Apple. Meanwhile, who has Apple recruited? You keep saying Anthropic. That's like when y'all be lying and be like, yo, I'm going on a date with a baddie and you don't see no pictures and no proof. When is the fucking Anthropic partnership going to come about? He dropping $100 million for 8 people right now. But this is the hype it's going to be through the rest of the show.
All right. Well, the moment has come. Before we start, I will say this: get your tickets to Investfest. Thank you to the good folks at Block, Jack Dorsey, and the whole team. Block is empowering the next generation of business leaders by making access affordable and opportunities real. We talked about this. We announced this on Market Mondays, and there's currently 13 tickets left, and there's 2 vendor booths left. So they are offering 50% off of the tickets to Investfest, general admission or VIP, and they're offering 50% off of vendor booths. It was 110, and currently, the last time I checked, there's 13 tickets left, and there's 2 vendor booths left. So if you're interested, go to investfest.com, enter code BLOCK at checkout, and you can get a discount.
Real quick, Alexander Wang from Scale AI depart from Meta as a part of a $14.3 billion deal to join the empire that is Meta.
How much?
14.3 billion. I don't want to hear no talk about nothing else. Don't ask me. Time to get the bag, make the exit, Mallorca every other week. We have 1 year. And if anyone here thinks if Microsoft, which owns part of OpenAI for the moment, if they're laying off 7,000 people, how many people are they going to lay off over the next 6 or 7 years?
Facts.
Yep. Facts. Once again, when we went to NVIDIA, man, we couldn't even get a full court pickup game with the amount of black people who was there. It was all other nationalities who were locked into studying and deploying the AI. This is going to be the biggest job crisis. If y'all thought that 2008 crash or something and how it shifted the job market, this is the typhoon that nobody sees coming.
All right. Well, don't say we didn't warn you. On that note, let's start it. We have some guests. We have some guests tonight. We got the good brother Kenny Burns. We got Mandii B. Let's bring them up. Start this conversation, shall we? Please. What's up, my brother?
Mandii, New York Times bestseller.
Made the list today.
Proud of you,
Mandii B. Congratulations. New York Times bestseller.
Congratulations.
Before we start, tell them how it feels to be a New York Times bestseller.
Well, I cried. I don't know if you did when you made it, but it's an accomplishment. A really big one, the biggest one that you can get as a book author. My first book, and it feels great. Check going up. Hey, I ain't charged them this time because I just got the title of it today, but the price is going up.
Smart move.
It's the only way. It's the only way. And Kenny Burns, how you doing, my brother?
I can't call it. I might spoil it. You know what I'm talking about? Happy to be here with y'all. Congratulations, Mandii. That's a beautiful accomplishment.
Thank you, Kenny. Thank you so much.
Absolutely.
All right. So
Time to wake it up.
let's
We're not playing today.
let's get to it. Okay, let's just start by saying this is a teachable moment on a variety of different levels, but from a just let's just go over it, right? There was 5 counts in the Diddy trial. And the first count was racketeering conspiracy. That was a very serious charge. The maximum for that, if he was found guilty, was life in prison. And he got found now not guilty on that. The second one was sex trafficking by force, fraud, or coercion. The minimum was 15 years. The maximum for that was life in prison. He got found not guilty on that. The third charge was transportation to engage in prostitution. The maximum for that is 10 years. He got found guilty on that. The fourth count was sex trafficking by force, fraud, or coercion. Pertains to victim 2. So he had two of those. He had one for Cassie and one to victim Jane. And Jane Doe. That was a minimum of 15 years, maximum of life in prison. He got found not guilty on that. And then the last one was transportation to engage in prostitution, pertains to victim 2. That was Jane Doe. Maximum 10 years. So he got convicted of that. So he got convicted of pretty much the same charge twice, because one was related to Cassie, one was related to Jane Doe. But so pretty much he got convicted of transportation to engage in prostitution. Okay. This is very interesting on a variety of different levels.
She's clutching pearls that are not on her neck currently.
We're going to wake it up today.
I mean, I'll be honest. I'm scared to have this conversation.
Why?
With 3 men. Because it sounds good. Seeing the comments that I've been seeing, I'm interested to have this conversation.
So Mandii, let me make you a little more secure. I'm married, 25 years, 2 kids. I don't know what these Negroes are doing this week, but I want you to be comfortable. And I want to make it comfortable because, I've been on this platform before. Yep. I have a dynamic relationship with Sean, and I just want to kind of like run down and kind of set the table. For me, first and foremost, I think that I'm happy for the kids. I'm happy that the life portion of this is not on the table. I never thought that the racketeering and the sex trafficking was going to stick as charges, because there had to been money exchange on a different level, that it had to been people being sold and bought in a criminal organization around. I mean, that's sex trafficking, but then the criminal organization piece around the racketeering. And as someone who has known him as long as I've known him and worked with him for the years I've worked with him, I think I'm still in shock. And I think that's what you're feeling a little bit, man. You're kind of in shock. You had the first week of all the activity. You had, his kids in the room that first week. I just couldn't, that part right there, it hurt my spirit, right? It goes on and you learn about the violent and abusive nature of his relationships. And it's disturbing. I mean, for anyone to know him or thought you knew him in a certain way, to see those things come out, all that's disturbing, right? I first and foremost don't condone that behavior. I wouldn't have stood by it in my presence. And I think that we are learning that we have to stop normalizing this type of behavior as a people. I think, the goofies outside the courtroom pouring baby oil on themselves.
That's ridiculous.
It was one person. It was one person.
No, it was a dude with his shirt off, and then there was a girl with purple hair, and there was a dude with a whole sport coat and hat on, spraying them or pouring the little, the CVS size baby oil for your travel kit. The point I'm trying to make is that we try to normalize this. This is not normal behavior. This is not behavior that should be accepted. And outside of trying to normalize
what part of the behavior?
Well, I don't think that level of freak is out there, and I don't think that level of freak is normal, right? And that's your personal preference, so that's not. But normal.
Well, Mandii is horrible decisions, though.
So I think that's my problem. I would say, like, the trial spent way too much time into the details of what he enjoyed sexually, when a RICO charge is trying to prove that he has a criminal organization, right? And so for me, I hate that it's become that a freak isn't a crime, so he should be let out. Because I'm not going to sit here and kink shame anyone. What he was doing was well within his boundaries to do. I don't
100%.
care if he likes nipple play, the cum, all the things. To me, there does
Nah,
lean into
but
okay,
Ken,
okay.
we're not
but
doing that.
it's he went too
Safe space, but no,
it's
no.
too far.
But I'm talking about normalize. The behavior I'm talking about is not his preferences. The normalizing of behaviors that we saw a man kick, drag, beat, stomp. We had several women throughout his life.
But
he paid
can we? All
off.
right, look, can we?
Can we be honest though? Everyone
Yeah.
heard these fucking stories.
No one saw him beat anybody. I haven't. So for us to see him stomp
we can never normalize domestic violence
at all. That's my entire point.
but we do
And
have
I think people are normalizing it because now his 10th life, he's beating the charges that would put him away forever. And I think people in their minds are going to think that can happen for them, and it can't.
Well, no, Kenny, because he wasn't being charged for domestic violence. That wasn't the crime.
The point is he should have been. That's the point.
And that's okay.
That's the point. So my point to you is we don't care about his sexual preferences or what he does. We're not, to your words, kink shaming him. But there's a normalization of abuse. And all I see, the people supporting him, and I know a lot of people's business. I've been around a long time. And the majority of people I see supporting, they are in domestic violence relationships.
But Kenny, can I say this? Let's break this down in different segments, right? Because the domestic violence conversation is an important conversation to have. And the kink conversation is a conversation. But let's start with the RICO, right? How I look at this is that, I mean, I hate to say it like this, but he was railroaded, right? When you see somebody whose house gets raided with helicopters.
He shouldn't have been on trial for none of that.
Well, why is he?
He shouldn't be on trial for racketeering.
He shouldn't be on trial for anything other than domestic violence, but because he paid several people along the way, they didn't charge him for that.
Are we at liberty to talk about the origin of why the charges came about, or no?
No, I mean, in my opinion, and I'm not a conspiracy theorist, but there's some powers at play that wanted to embarrass him.
And that's what I want.
I believe that. I said that when he tried to go after Diageo for racism,
that was a death sentence.
I absolutely believe that, and I think that unfortunately, like, race plays a thing into it. Like, he was welcome to tables and then tried to shake those tables, and they said, "We're gonna shake you the hell out of you."
It's the way you shake the table, and the perfect example is Puff, Ye, and anybody else who's going to just damn the world because of their ego. It has nothing to do with money. Like, I think that Puff said it best. It was a thing that was going viral recently, and he was like, "We got to do this as black people." Puff has had every black executive in the world who moves culture. He has had the resources to keep everybody he's ever put in play, you know what I'm saying, on his team. Ego takes these people out of the realm of continuing their runs. And it's sad. And so my point is, again, though, but here we go. I'm happy he's not getting life. I mean, I know plenty of people's lives that were changed for the better because of his contribution. I know I wouldn't be the lifestyle specialist and have my success without his blueprint. But, and I'm talking about in business, we got to be specific on your show because your fucking listeners are hell sometimes. So the point I'm trying to make is that
they're amazing and critical thinkers.
Yeah, I love them all. We can't allow the normalization of someone getting off and putting them right back into the fray. Like, my whole thing with the normalization was just about the domestic violence, which wasn't in play. That wasn't a part of the charge.
Rashad, I think you need to speak.
Troy, can we play this video? I want to get everybody's reaction from this video. Can we play this video,
Hi, Troy. How you doing, Troy?
This case, it just so happens, and this is another thing I have to think has something to do with it. The Abercrombie and Finch case came out, and the Weinstein case was coming out. Okay, so here's the thing. They raid his house 2 weeks before the raid, they released the videotape the same time they're prosecuting the Abercrombie and Finch guys. Now, the Abercrombie and Finch guys who are really doing trafficking, who have really have an enterprise of getting these young straight men, drugging them and doing all of this kind of stuff, they let them off on a $5 million bail. 50
Yeah.
they give Diddy, he offers 50 million, his jet, his passports, his family's passports, his property, everything, and they say no. Why? Because you are the diversion for letting these white guys go. Do you know what I'm saying? And that's how they've always treated hip hop. That's how they've always treated African Americans or Mexicans, or use it as something else to divert the attention. Why is Diddy in jail? Why couldn't he bail out?
Right. Yeah, the bail thing don't make sense when everybody bailed out. But Diddy can't bail out.
Yeah, they're saying that he's a threatening guy, but if you take away, he said, no communications, I'll go on an ankle monitor, you can have all my phones, I mean.
Right. What about the...
Real quick, Xander, I love you. Appreciate you tuning in. This probably shouldn't be the show you watching tonight, so you can go play Madden or something. My kid go ahead, baby. Play all the Madden you want to.
That is funny. For me, I think what we saw is early on witness tampering, which I think impacted him. We knew that he had the arson. We knew that Kid Cudi was coming in as someone as well for prosecution. So he was a threat to people. He was threatening people. He called old girl from Dirty Money many times.
He threw a Molotov cocktail to the car.
That is still, it blew up the car. I actually though
that wasn't arson.
I do just want to add, because clearly RICO, we can all agree that was an overcharge for this trial. However, I did some research because I was like, okay, if he's only getting these 2 prostitution charges, I went and looked up, and there has been not one celebrity that has actually been charged. So Charlie Sheen was never formally charged. Hugh Grant was charged only with lewd conduct, fined and placed on probation. Eddie Murphy was just highly publicized but wasn't charged. Robert Kraft was charged, but charges got dropped after a court ruled the video inadmissible. Mind you, these are all celebrities who have been caught with sex workers or prostitutions or brothels. Jerry Springer, no formal charges. David Beckham, Tiger Woods, Elliot Spitzer, Fred Willard, and Marion Barry. All of these people either got let free, didn't really get charged, or was left with a fine and probation. And so when we lean into all of these people, mind you, these are black and white people. So even him bringing up the race thing, we've seen other black high-profile celebrities get off when it comes to sex workers. And I know, y'all know I like to lean into this. At the end of the day, I've said it, and it's unfortunate. The Johns, the ones paying for the sex, never really get charged. The charge is always on the sex worker, is always on the prostitute. They're looked at as the bigger criminals than the people who are paying for sex. And so for what we've seen happen just throughout history, and all of these charges date all the way back to the 70s, there haven't been high profile, very wealthy, well-to-do celebrities being charged with prostitution. And it's just unfortunate, because at the end of the day, what I'm seeing through the comments, through social media, is that sex workers can't be victims. And unfortunately, I don't see Daphne, aka Jane Doe, as a sex worker, but it was really heartbreaking to view a woman who was willing to go through all of that for a lifestyle, for $10,000 a month. And so for the real victims who are sex workers that can have boundaries, it was really unfortunate seeing her take the stand for 7 days, looking like she was actually sad that he moved on from her.
Yeah, so, I think so. First of all, Marion Barry was the greatest mayor ever. He was the mayor of Washington,
D.C. In Washington, D.C. Yep.
We haven't had programs for kids since he left office that are, saving lives or giving away out the hood. He was amazing. But I do want to say to the video is clear why. The man has been a menace since City College.
Thank
Yeah.
you.
So it's
He's a
like
menace.
I get tired. Like, this is the thing. I don't want to beat a black man down
Me
ever.
either. But
And I do not
yeah.
like him as a person. I respect him for what he's done for culture. But again, we are normalizing. It's like the guy was saying, we know it doesn't happen to white people. The list you read, we know these people didn't get charged. It was 2 black people on your list. I think 2, right? Eddie Murphy and Mary Berry. Like, my point
And
is, like,
Tiger Woods.
okay, well, Tiger Woods is not black. So the point I'm trying to make is,
Oh,
like, no, I'm just
Wow.
playing. I'm just playing. But it's like you take these nuanced cases, Tiger Woods, Marion Barry, Eddie Murphy. You look at the laundry list of pedophiles, rapists. I mean, that's what they do. You know what I'm saying? But dude got off too many times. They
Done.
wanted to make an
And
example.
he upset the wrong person. There's many ways you
Exactly.
can kill a man and let him live. This is a prime example because you can argue if they wanted that RICO shit to stick, there were other things they could have dug into.
Listen, my sister and I were talking. My sister who owns Baller Alert. We were like, you know, we thought it was going to be some bombshell. Like, this case was a piece of shit.
It was a joke. It was a joke.
It was a fucking farce.
It's a joke.
Was it a joke for the
you know what I
purpose of
think?
what it was supposed to do, though?
No, I actually think even the rating of the house, the helicopters, because he's a black man in hip hop, I'll be honest. I think they were expecting to find drugs, not baby oil. I think they were expecting to find things that could stick to showing a criminal enterprise. And I really just don't think they found what they thought they were going to find.
It's a thing called public humiliation. As a black man, when you step out of line,
given who he was at war with, not to cut you off, but to frame it,
they have to set examples for not just you, for your counterparts. So Diddy has counterparts and he has peers, right? So when he does something that goes against the system has to set an example to publicly humiliate him and to set fear for other people that are in similar situations like him to not cross certain boundaries. Because all of this case about his sexual life and all of that, none of this was a RICO charge. He's the first person in history to have a RICO charge by himself.
But they got immunity.
He conspiracy, he's paying people to have sex, right?
This is my thing, though, Rashad, and I wanted to interject. We, as a community, I'm talking about black folk, we don't hold our own responsible, right? There's the R. Kelly analogy. There's the Ye analogy. I'm sorry, let's say stories, not analogies. There's the R. Kelly story. There's the Ye story. Prior to our era of music, our parents, they have whole songs about prostitution. They have whole songs about having families. We as a community, and this is the thing that I'm frightened for the kids that don't have the discernment, for the people who are in these lifestyles and don't have the resources and think it's going to turn out like it did for Puff. The problem with this whole narrative is that we're all saying they do this to the black man every time, and we lose sight that we saw this nigga stomp on a woman.
You're making a good point, because
I'm not making it about the trial. I'm off the trial.
We can't. There's two different things here. This is a case study in how not being disciplined and having bad personal behavior can cost you everything. Because you see why he worked his whole life to become a global icon, to become a billionaire, and he lost pretty much everything because of sexual deviance, not having
crossing the wrong person.
Right. So as a black man, right? Because we gotta have this we gotta be honest as well. You have a shorter rope. So you have to know that going into it. You're not afforded the same opportunities. So you don't have the same luxuries of, like, he learned this behavior from somebody. If we want to have that conversation, we can.
No. You don't
want to have that conversation, but if we want to have that conversation, he can. We can.
What behavior? I want to ask what behavior, because you have the domestic
behavior. He learned this behavior from somebody. What I'm trying to say is that those somebodies are not on trial. Those somebodies did not get embarrassed.
And the music industry did not give a fuck about those.
But it's not even just the music industry. Every guy who has a little bit of change in their accounts has flew a woman out for sex. every athlete, every rapper, like, would be on trial if this was the case. And so I think that that's what I'm saying. Like, those 2 charges being the ones that stuck,
But
everyone is doing
I'm not
it.
even talking about. I'm not talking about just flying somebody out to have sex. I'm talking about these elaborate sex parties. These sex parties, okay, sex parties and all that. That's not black people didn't start that. That's not African tradition. Where did it start from? Where
Don't
did
do
it
that.
start?
Black people be at sex clubs, and I do sex clubs like bi-weekly. So if we want to get into it, there are black people who live lifestyle. This isn't a race thing.
Can I jump in?
Where did it start from? Where did it start?
Can I jump in?
We'll come back to that. Let's go to Kenny real quick.
We got to stop blaming people for our actions. Regardless of who taught that to him, he did it. He kept doing it. He has been manipulated. Like, and listen, I'm not trying to come on here to be the guy who bashes dude. But like, the problem I have is for the people that don't have discernment. To her point, to Maddie's point, if you're sexual, you're sexual. If the sexual nature of your interactions gets boring, you're gonna try more shit. And it's not what you who you learned it from, it's your preference, it's what you enjoy.
And it's how you show up with the discernment.
But
to
we
also
can't
respect
escape
your
the
partners
origin and the history of this going on in the music industry. And while we're trying to police and make the community better, the music industry looked past this shit for 30 years. Same with R. Kelly.
100%.
Exactly.
No, and even the clips. I don't know if you guys saw the podcast thing where Pusha was talking about how he had, Kendrick Lamar on the song, and they had this lyric. I think it's called lyric council or some shit that goes
auditor. Yeah, a lyric auditor. Yeah,
or whatever it is, right? And so they got at him, but I'm like, you put out misogyny and death music every fucking day, and these people say whatever. All the analogies of spinning the block. I mean, everything has to do with misogyny and death. But you because you settled out of court with Drake, now you want to talk about you got a lyric committee, like looking at lyrics. So to your point, Shadi, to everyone's point, it's not fair. Black men, black women have been railroaded our existence, but we can't keep blaming white people.
No,
but I'm not blaming other influence. We gotta take some ownership.
I'm not blaming white people. I'm just saying that he learned this behavior from somebody, right? But
who? Clive Davis? It wasn't Andre Harrell. Like niggas really be going down a rabbit hole, and I be ready. See y'all trying to turn me up.
Come on, Kenny.
That's what Shawty's trying to do, because see, the bullshit is you got people that are dead. That, like, when I see shit in the comments about Andre, I be ready to choke. Andre was a square. He wasn't no get pussy nigga. He wasn't no motherfucking player. He loved culture. And to be honest, he's dead because of the lack of love he felt from culture. He didn't have no motherfucking. Now, I don't know. We know Uncle Russ has his thing going on and all that, but I don't know their relationship and them being tight. So he didn't learn that shit from them.
Kenny, I just out of respect too, love what you say. Black men specifically do not share with other black men what type of kinky shit they into. So
exactly.
but you can't sit here and speak for what a man was and was not doing, because the lamest of lame niggas be buying pussy, be fucking bitches.
No, I'm not saying buying pussy is not what I'm saying, Maddie.
I just don't like bringing other people in here and you speaking for what they may or may not have been into.
It's institutional. That's what I'm trying to say is this. I'm not putting the blame on somebody else. What I'm saying is that Diddy's not the first person that started this. He's not the only person that started this. But what I'm saying is that this is a learning experience, and this is a learning point for other black people. You're on the rise up. You're not afforded the same luxury, so you have to be more disciplined. We can have this conversation.
We got a conversation about
this conversation with Mandii if you're interested in this, Mandii. But at a certain point, you have to what they call dick discipline. Being a sexual deviant is going to lead to your downfall. So this whole sexual liberation shit has caused a major problem in the black community. It has broken up black families, and it has sent some of our most powerful, resourceful men to jail. That's a direct correlation. That's a direct correlation to just openness with, like, you got to have some level of you can't, like, everything is not okay.
And so you blame, I guess this is when I hear you say that sexual liberation is the power that women have controlled and taken on, especially over the last 5 to 10 years. I do see a swing in the pendulum. However, I refuse to have sexual liberation be the blame for the downfall of the sexual deviants, the abusers, the rapists, it doesn't make sense for me to for anyone to say that women getting in a realm of sexual liberation is the reason for all of the downfall of these men, when really it's like men know what rape is. Men know, or should at least know. And hold on, especially when over 30, outside of rape then. Well, outside of rape then, there's sexual assault, sexual harassment, consent, violation of consent. If we're really clear, it's what we're seeing even just happen with Shannon Sharp. Like, bro, these are grown-ass men. You know what you're doing is right, and you know what you're doing is wrong.
But do you think that a breakdown in the moral fabric of culture leads to this type of behavior and decadence? Do you think that, or do you not think that? Because if you could just do anything, right? If the playing field, you could just do anything, then eventually you're going to start to just, it's never enough. And when it becomes never enough, then you become a glutton. Gluttony is one of the 7 deadly sins. You got to have certain limits in life. You got to have certain limits.
It's control and accountability, like somebody said in the comments. For me, sexual liberation has been about women being able to finally express that they like sex, that they're not just a womb to have babies for men. We can actually let you know what we enjoy, what we like, what we don't like. Sex can actually be pleasurable for us, and we can admit that. We can say no. The problem is, and here's the thing too, even as a 90s baby, as a millennial, we were taught that a man will like you more if you have sex. There's a lot of times that we go into sex to stroke the male ego. So what sexual liberation has looked like is women being able to identify their own pleasures, expressing them, and having the power and autonomy to say no. And so for me, this idea that we're just going to blame sexual liberation for the downfall of Black men, the problem is the upbringing of Black men, the upbringing of many men leads y'all to be these sexual deviants.
Especially in hip hop culture.
Especially in hip hop culture.
You don't think that there needs to be any limits on somebody's sex life?
I think that everything should be consensual for both men and women.
I'm talking, we're past the consensual part. Do you think that there should be limits on an individual's sex life?
I literally say there are 3 things I will shame someone for doing sexually. And that is fucking kids, that is fucking animals, and that is fucking corpses. If you are 2 consenting adults having sex, I don't think anything else is off limits. Those are the 3 boundaries. Kids, dead bodies, and animals.
So Mandii, you make great points. Rashad, you make great points. And I'll just come in the middle. Pause. The problem is, Mandii, and to Rashad's point, when you think about liberation, it's okay to be free. It's okay to do the things behind closed doors that satisfy you. You could be public about it and speak about it, but it goes back to the point of the kids that don't have discernment, or people that are followers,
or the next era who think because he got off it's going to be okay.
Exactly. And I've been a mentor to kids, to young adults, to adults. And, you know, there was a bisexual craze, right? And I say craze because when Nicki Minaj came out, you had this influence of, and it's influx of experimenting, right? And women experiment. I'm not a woman. I can't tell you about a woman, but I'm saying about the mentors that spoke to me that were women. And a lot of it was like, you know, such and such did it, so I tried it. I'm not really that. And so I think and I'm not speaking for Rashad, but I think that because so much of that has taken place, whether it becomes the artist speaking out about it so freely, like, you know, their preferences and what they like, whether it's the influencer, the Amber Rose generation, you know, all these overly sexual images, right? You know, these are the things that deteriorate, right? Because I have 2 young men as sons, 21 and 24. And in their teenage years, I'm like, I used to have regular conversations. Like, how do you feel? Are you intimidated? Because every time they cut on their phone, there's somebody, you know, almost naked. Like, is it like, you know, are you talking to them in a way that is respectful? You know, not to say the things they say in that song, because that could get you sent to the principal's office. Then when they went to college, it can get you sent to jail. So I think that there's not a line anymore that's clear. To Rashad's point, there's not a line that separates reality in this false idea of freedom, right? Because The other thing that's not discussed is AIDS. That has gone nowhere. The other, I mean, way more treatable than it used to be. Herpes and the packages that you can never get rid of. These are things that are not going anywhere, but they're not looked at as things anymore because you hear such freedom and raw this, and I had this, and the Punisher. I wore a condom one time and came in her for 3 years. Like, this shit is wild. And we do have to have some type of taming on it because what you do see, and I've seen in the music industry and entertainment industry for decades, you try shit that you're not ready for, but then you try shit you can't come back from. You end up becoming dependent on drugs. You end up becoming all types of things that you were never meant to be, all because of the influence. And that's what I'm going back to this trial and saying. He's railroad. This fucking trial made no fucking sense. The abuse and the things that he was supposed to be charged for, he wasn't. Okay, now we're here. Do we continue to put all of our trust and support behind people that have constantly done things to show us they're not worthy of that? And I'm not talking about Puff. I'm talking about anybody. Do we continue to support these talking heads that only talk for gain or only want to have the viral clip and the viral moment and their daily is not about service or giving back? We have to choose the new superheroes. We are in a fucking disastrous place because the adults in the room allegedly supposed to be president cursing on television. Like, that's why Jasmine Crockett is a whole nother conversation, but that's why, like, I love Jasmine and we need that energy, but don't curse. Don't curse because you are held to a different standard. And it's fine, not because you're a woman, it's because you're a woman, black, and all the other Democrat and all the other things. So
Jasmine can't curse, but Trump can?
no, but the point is, brother, there's no examples. I can curse, you can curse. Just like I told Keisha Lance Bottoms the other day. How are you going to fight the new, in this new political sphere? I'm covered with the blood of Jesus. Jesus can't help you with these MAGA motherfuckers. So we need a different approach. But it's not her being me. It's not her being Mandii. It's not her being you or Rashad. It's literally being it's like Obama. And I'm not saying Obama's everybody's cup of tea, but I know he made me want a fatherless child. He made me at 40 something years old want to be a better man from the way he presented himself. These things work. When you see people speaking truth to power, when you see people that genuinely care and are saying things that you can wrap your arms around, these things are important. It's not, and to Rashad's point, I'm gonna land my plane. You can't just say whatever out your mouth and you're comfortable with dealing with it. And you gotta, if you're influential, you gotta think about the people listening to you. And that's my only point.
Mandii, I know you have a commentary and I have one follow-up.
I'll let you go first.
Who are the monsters in hip hop and our culture we need to warn the people against next?
No, we're not doing that.
Okay. All this fucking fake, we need to protect the culture from these stories were being told 30 fucking years ago, and nobody said a fucking word except Gene Deal. There's some on the east, there's some on the west,
without
some
shitting on your soliloquy,
Come on, man.
Everybody talked about it. You just weren't in the industry. And I'm gonna say this respectfully. At the end of the day, he's gone to court several times. But let's get off of Puff. Yeah. Let me address your question. And then Mandii, if you want to take it from there. You said, who are the leaders we need to be worried about? Is that what?
Monsters.
The monsters. The monsters is the algorithm. The monsters is these people that are creating these communities based on their personal agendas. Those are the monsters. I don't think we have monsters. We're created because of our circumstance. And we can become monsters or we can fucking, keep ourselves have guardrails around us and hold our community responsible. We won't ever become monsters. But as long as you can run amok and do whatever the fuck you want to do, you're subject to becoming a monster.
Rashad.
Mandii.
There was so much there. There was so much there, and it went all over the place. And I'm going to try to stay calm, so that maybe I can be received better. I think that things are being conflated. I also think that maybe, with all due respect, Kenny, you're not having these conversations in the same way that I am. There are a lot of people having kinky, nasty, great, safe sex. Also, AIDS and HIV are attacking Black women the most specifically. And it's probably because, and this is not to blame, but there hasn't been the safe space for Black men to exist in exploring their own sexualities, or for them to be honest about the things that they like. And this is my own perception of what's happening with even the things that Diddy is into. He liked a lot of men being around him. And I felt like he used women as the vehicle for that. But it's because within our own community, we haven't created the space for Black men to exist in whatever sexuality they really feel comfortable in. And so unfortunately, women were the scapegoats here. Women were used to allow these men to be in the space. There was 1, 2, 3. I think Jane Doe said there was 3 men sometimes at a time. And he liked to play with the nut of the men. And yes, that is his business. I understand, and I see the comments. However, when we're talking about using women as the vehicles here, there were levels of abuse that went beyond domestic violence. And unfortunately, I do think that that's all been overlooked because a lot of people have a price. And that's what we saw. There's lifestyle that's involved. There's livelihoods involved. There's women that want to live a certain way. And so unfortunately, again, even if you are abused, you're not viewed as the victim. And 2 things can be true. And that's just the fact of the matter.
So let me ask you a question. So I'm speaking to the man thing. So do you think he's gay, Mandii, after hearing all of this sexual preferences?
They never had any gay.
I'm asking her opinion. Protector of all things New York.
I'll be honest with you, and this is where the labels become tricky. I know men that do quote unquote gay shit and identify as straight. Like, a label does not matter. Again, if we're talking about the case, I don't care what sexuality Diddy is. But what I'm saying is the charges and the way he moved about is what essentially they're trying to hold him to in court right now with the prostitution ring.
Well, I'm gonna say this. I don't think no one cares if he's gay. No one cares. If Tyler. No, listen to what I'm saying. They don't care if Tyler Perry's gay. Tyler Perry should just come out. You write about women. Your entire career is about women. Your main character is a woman. You dressed as a woman. We don't care. We love you anyway. You know what I'm saying? And in 2025, you got to realize the power piece of this. The power is the real drug. The power is and it has nothing to do with money at a certain point. It's who you can turn. And I'm not saying into a sexuality. I'm just saying who you can make do what you need them to do, whatever that is. They used to say these stories about Clive Davis back in the day. He got puffed. Never seen that shit. Never believed that shit. And to Rashad's point, who influenced who? You see later on similar stories, right? I mean, obviously Clive didn't go on trial or go to jail. But my thing is, like, power is the real problem. And to the governor, the dude who's running for mayor for New York City, he's like, fuck billionaires. Shouldn't be any billionaires. So you have this ideal on one side, like, power and money is going to save everything. That man, it's just confusing to me.
That's why, because this is a business channel, right? So that's why I always say, like, we talking about money, power, and all of that. Like, you can't talk about success. You can't be a successful person and have poor moral conduct. We can't.
It's impossible.
I want to stay on this topic because it's important. This is important for people that are entrepreneurs, people that want to be successful. Like, one of your biggest keys to success is being able to be disciplined. Me, I don't smoke. I never smoked in my whole life. I don't want an award for that, but the reason why I don't smoke is because I like to stay on point. I want to be on point. I tell my son, how you do one thing is how you do everything, right? Like, once you start to, now you start doing drugs, now you start drinking, now you start waking up late, now you start the threesomes turn to foursomes, turn to quadruple sums. I hear you, Mandii, as far as everybody has a right to do whatever they want sexually. But what I'm saying is that as a person that's looking for success, because most people that tune into this channel are looking for success, you have to at one point in life say no.
You know what's crazy about you saying that?
You have to say no to your own personal desires. You can't say yes to your own personal desires every single time. That's not a recipe for success.
Shadi, let's get this off of sex, because if everyone in the chat can agree, Diddy has more money than us, right? Period.
But you talking
Hold on.
about somebody that
So let me
lost
say this. Let me say this.
$500 million valuation
I got it.
because he
I got
wasn't
it.
disciplined.
But guess what?
Kanye lost $500 million.
And guess what? We all know Diddy has done very bad business. Almost everyone who has been on Bad Boy can say that he's done bad business. So in terms of bringing up morals and things like that, you can be successful as a monster, clearly, because we've seen it.
It's long-term success. It's long-term success versus short-term. First of all,
no, it's not.
There's a
Hugh
thing called
Hefner died a millionaire.
There's a thing called long-term success versus short-term success.
There are a lot of people, Shadi, Ian, Kenny, in this industry who have died, and they have died millionaires. They have died being successful.
Wait a minute. How do you value success? Because you could be a multi-millionaire and kill yourself because you're miserable. So
I think she's saying if this is his fault.
That's something completely different.
What I'm saying is that this is a learning. If we don't learn from this, we're going to. When I say we, all of us, we're going to follow the same pathway because nobody's.
Let's go around the table and share lessons.
You have to learn the lessons that these people have made. Like they set an example of failure that we have to learn from. We can't we're having conversations and we're not learning from the most important aspect of what we need to learn from. That's important.
Two things can be true though. Rashad, your point is true, and Mandi's can be very true. I think I won't speak for Mandii, but if he's leaving this trial and is up 200 million, that is a fucking win. For all the charges that he's beat. Rashad, to your point though,
his whole life is ruined, bro. His whole life.
I agree.
Ruined. He won, but he lost.
But Shadi, it would be Shadi. What? Please let me just say this. It would be ruined in another era. In this era, these train wrecks. They
I don't think it's ruined in this era.
I don't think so. And I wanted to say this because I think.
Well, wait, Kenny, you don't think he's done forever?
No. I absolutely
you know why? You know why, Ian? Look at and this is the example that I used earlier, and it's because we've now reached an umbrella where Diageo, all these white people that he was working for, we're now in an era where he can create his own IP, get on a goddamn camera like this, a microphone like this, and own everything. It's what we've been seeing with Shannon Sharpe. Shannon Sharpe is literally in the middle of a $50 million lawsuit, and Nightcap still comes on every goddamn night. He lost his ESPN job, but everything that he's created is still going. And you know what? At the end of the day, because we like to support Black men, there is going to be an influx of people wanting to support Diddy after this. The same way they said if Bill Cosby got out, people would go running to buy those tickets to support him because he's a Black man. And not to make this like a thing where no one cares about women, but again, a lot of these charges are now abuse against women. There have been plenty of successful Black men who have been charged for assault, abuse on women, and their lives have not changed.
Who are these men? Who are these men?
How much time we got left?
There's
2 minutes.
Hold on. Let me get you a list. One moment, because there are.
But why would you say successful Black men? Why are you pointing out Black men? Why are you doing that?
She's not saying all.
She just said successful Black. She's pointing out Black men. Why are you doing that? Let's be very clear.
This is hilarious because y'all been.
Why are you doing that? You said Black men.
Y'all have been bringing up Black men and race this entire time. There's been a division between white treatment and Black treatment. I didn't bring up Black men.
Is that not real? Is that not a real thing?
If the conversation is going to be about Black men, which is what we have been leaning into, I'm going to say Black men. I did not bring up Black men. Don't put that on me.
You did bring up Black men. You just
I want to say this
because that's the conversation.
Rashad, y'all
made that the conversation.
Y'all dating? So listen, this is my thing.
No.
This sounds like some pillow talk. The thing is for me, and I think we should kind of go around and talk about the lessons in this, right?
Mm-hmm.
The lessons in this is that, everyone doesn't have Puff's resources. So anyone entering in this realm of treatment of women, thinking you're going to be okay.
Oh, wait. Duh. I forgot. Hello. Selling out stadium tours, and I love him, so I'm going to be a hypocrite right now. Chris Brown.
Come on, stop.
Can I finish my?
Stop. Mandy, I love you, but stop, please.
Bro, he is selling out stadium tours, and we know what happened with him and Rihanna. We know what happened with him and Karuchi.
We don't need to bring Chris Brown into this. Please.
Is this over in an hour? Is this over?
No, it's over.
Nope.
Okay, let me just can I say my point, Mandy? You got any other Tourette's you want to get out?
Oh, first off, I am searching for the list of black men that y'all wanted.
We don't want it. I was trying to help you. Most powerful black men, powerful. I'm talking about on that level, excluding Jay-Z, have had, and Usher. I don't know anything about, but like a lot, and Ludacris. I mean, there's a few, but there's people that don't have fucking demon traits or monster traits. That's not
another one. Fine, Dr. Dre. Boy, and a company, Apple was like, we've only known him for 8 months, but we believe he's sorry. And we're going to go ahead and buy these Beats by Dre now and give him $1 billion. And he just performed at the Super Bowl and is about to be at the Olympics. Like, I mean, Dr. Dre absolutely has maintained his success after even admitting and apologizing for the abuse on black women.
Nobody's excusing any of that. No, I don't think anybody here is excusing any of that. All right, I gotta go, but I just want to say,
why you gotta go now?
Because there's not a lot of opportunity here to kind of really unpack. I think it's a sparring match.
You've been going on monologues. We're having a good conversation.
You too. I love you, dearly.
You've gone 3 minutes with no interruptions.
Come
Kenny.
on, brother.
You done brought God and Jesus into this multiple times.
No.
What are we talking about?
Let's reset the room. Let's all love each other.
I'm trying to reset the table so that we can get to the lessons.
Okay, yeah.
That we're all learning.
Okay.
Mandy, give us some lessons and don't run. And don't say I got no motherfucking Tourette's because I'm actually
Mandy,
right.
I don't know what it is. I was joking. I don't know if you know my personality or not, but it wasn't offensive at all. But if you would like to start, I mean, let's go around the table and talk about some lessons we're learning from this trial.
Let's start with Ian and Shadi since they're the hosts of this lovely show.
Ian, the floor is yours.
Thing that my mom and dad would always tell me that I fucking hated as a kid and as a young adult is whatever you do in your past is going to come out in your future. And the lie is only good until the truth shows up. I hated that shit when my dad would say it. And the moral of that is no matter what you do, live your life as at some point somebody's going to see the shit in the movie theater and move accordingly. We have to be very clear. Even when people say they're shocked at the actions, I'm like, if you've been around hip hop for 7 weeks, you heard these stories. So there shouldn't be any shock. I think people have to move accordingly, move with respect. And don't think if you do bullshit for a long period of time that you're going to be able to get away with it. That's my thought.
I agree.
Andy?
Shadi, I want to hear yours.
I think that to reset the room, I think that the trial was a railroad sham to begin with. But I also think that he had a lot of bad karma and he abused women. And that's something that, no matter what you do in due time comes back to you. So sometimes in life you pay the price for something that you didn't even do, right? But it's something that you did karmically that's going to come back to you. So I think that he's lost a lot of money. He's lost his fame. He didn't lose his fame, but he's lost a lot of things, right? So, only God can judge somebody. I hope that he's learned from this lesson. I hope that he's learned from this lesson. I think that he'll probably get around 2.5 years in jail. He's already done, when this is all said and done, probably a year. And in the federal system, it's like 60% of your time. So he'll probably be home by next summer. And we'll see what happens. It's interesting that they got him for the Mann Act because that was a racially charged charge. We in the United States of America, this race is a real thing. We can't run away from that. The Mann Act started with Jack Johnson in 1920 because he had a white girlfriend, and they said that he was bringing her across state lines, and they called it white sex slaves or something like that, right? So they literally started the Mann Act because of a black powerful man was with a white woman, and that historically has been unproportionately put on black people, black men specifically. So when I say black men, Mandii, I'm not just making scapegoats. This is real institutional things that have been put in place for decades, for centuries in the United States of America for the destruction of Black people, but specifically for Black men. This is a real conversation. I'm not using it as a scapegoat, but it's something that we have to be honest about if we're being honest. But you know, we'll see what the future holds. But I just think that it's a learning experience from, no matter how you look at it, he's lost a lot. And when you have something that you built the empire, because he did build the empire and he did become an icon globally, right? It's never going to be the same. We talking about, yeah, he could do a show, a pod. We talking about Diddy though. So you're talking about somebody that was a billionaire from hip hop. You're talking about somebody that had global brands. You're talking about somebody, and I do think that he was trying to clean his karma, because you said that he did bad business. He didn't do bad business with us. I'm just speaking from personal experience. But I think that was the later part of his years. Sometimes you kind of know when your end is near. Yeah. And I think that he was trying to do a lot of good to change maybe the negative that he's done in the past. But sometimes it's not enough runway. But you know, I do think that we have to start having more honest conversations as a community. And I do think that, you know, hopefully the next generation of billionaires and entrepreneurs learn from the mistakes of this generation. And to be honest, this generation didn't really have anybody to learn from. They was kind of winging it on their own. But now there's set precedents of what to do, what not to do. If you do this, you could get this much time in jail. You can be so, you know, it's interesting, but that's my take on it. But I never condone any level of abuse against women. But I do feel that once you start to travel down dark pathways, sometimes there's no way out, which is why you should stay out of dark pathways.
Mandii, what are the lessons from you or any commentary you want to give? Floor is yours.
I think we are still, all of us are victims of the patriarchy. And so what I really feel is happening is that there's been an increased level of education for what is violating, for what is assault, for what is, you know, an attack on your autonomy. And I think women, for the first time, have been able to speak out about it. It's been able to be criminalized. You can look back. They used to say you couldn't say no to having sex with your husband, that your husband couldn't rape you. I just realized I experienced an assault. It's because I learned what the word was in 2018, stealthing. A man can't remove a condom without your knowledge. Like, there's just knowledge and things that are happening right now that we didn't have. And so what I'm realizing, unfortunately, is that there's kind of also this tug of war of really changing and making people learn and making people show up as better people. There are ways in which men have been showing up that have been violating the autonomy of us. And we as women are now, unfortunately, realizing the trauma that we have experienced because we haven't had voices. There haven't been laws that protect us. They're rolling back the way laws protect us now. We can't even have abortions if we want to in certain states, whether we've been assaulted or not. And so, unfortunately, I genuinely feel like cases like this and reading the comments online, we're at a tug of war for the freedom that y'all have had sexually to the way in which we are able to show up as human beings in a sexual position with men, with other women. And so it's frustrating for me because there's been a lot of work happening to teach people about consent, about PrEP, about ways to protect yourselves. And I just feel like a lot of people are choosing not to because the 90s was funner. It's more fun to just get what you want as a man. And so that's what I'm seeing now. And it's unfortunate. And it's not a black or white thing. It's a man and woman thing. It's a partnership thing. It's a way we intertwine with each other sexually. And so that's just what I'm seeing. And I just hate it. And I know even seeing in the comments, you can lean it into feminism. You can lean it into this crazy layer of sexual liberation. But no, there's just ways in which we are learning. And so we're able to speak out about it. And I just don't think a lot of men like that we're able to speak out on the treatment that we've experienced for centuries. If we as Black people can be free from slavery, I just don't understand why there's like this tug of war with allowing women to exist with that same freedom.
Well said. Well said. I'll go to the Puff thing because I think that's what we started talking about. I hope he can become the man.
Well, lessons from all of this.
Yeah. And this is, part of that. I hope he can become the man that was warranted the favor he has received. And I truly hope that the love from his family showing up every week during this process fills whatever void he's been missing, right? Because the evil nature of his business dealings and all the horror stories we've experienced and heard, obviously still in shock from what we saw in this trial, whether it was warranted or not. We still saw things that brought things to the forefront and to the light that we had no idea about. And I just think that we need to know that Puff has way more money than most of us, right? All of us.
Yes.
And you're not going to be able to fight the battles he can fight. To Shadi's point early in the conversation, I think it's very important to have guardrails, guidelines for your life, and that sexual, with your sexuality and what you want to experiment with sexually. That's how you show up in your communities and who you align with. That's your choices in mentors or people that you respect. And I think that is a whole nother lesson in itself. You got to make sure they earn your respect, and not just through dancing and fucking singing or playing basketball, or you got to get to know these people before you put all your weight. I never forget having a conversation with Shadi about Kanye before he completely jumped off the bridge, and I was like, yo, just be careful aligning, because you never know how these people are going to end up. And it was a real thing. And, even like I told you, Ian, when I first met you, I was like, yo, y'all taking some pictures with some real, I don't know, term, you know what I'm saying? But y'all be careful who y'all taking pictures. No, but I'm just saying these are important things, because the internet can't be scrubbed or erased unless you Jay-Z or Beyonce. You gotta, you know what I'm saying? You gotta really deal with the choices you make and be, thoughtful with your decision making. So, and I think seeing one of the greatest of my generation go through what he's gone through, deservingly on some levels, and then on other levels, it's what they've done to all of your points earlier to black men this whole time. But we can't put ourselves in that position. If I've learned anything, and what I want my mentees to know, because I think I'm over the hill now and I'm about to ride off into the pastures with my earnings, y'all gotta be careful with the decisions you're making. You can't, to Mandy's point about the night, it ain't the 90s. You got cameras everywhere. You got text messages, recorded conversations. My wife called me tonight. My mama answered the phone. She started recording the conversation. Then it came up, it's like, oh shit, I didn't know I can, record your conversations. Like, Mom, what the fuck are you doing to pick up the phone? But the point I'm trying to make is, it's not safe out here to be a monster. And you really need to check yourself at the door if you think you're becoming one.
Can we teach men how to move correctly and not be fucking weird? Because we have a conversation every week on Blackout, but this
they gotta be open to it.
Nah, but I've seen the realest
even
niggas
the comments.
be weird.
I'm reading the comments. They're like feminism, womanism. No one wants to hear.
Don't read the comments, Mandy.
Well, no. What I'm saying, and I'm saying that because if y'all have an audience of men at some point have to be open to listening. They have to be open to learning from other men.
Is that anybody can say anything? That's the problem. All this shit should blow up. The fucking internet, and sorry if I'm taking bread out of people's mouth, but all this shit should blow up. It's not natural. And everybody who never had a voice in their life can have a voice. You can never go back to even.
But even on Blackout, we've told you can't DM a girl 27 times, and there are certain things just because I think men don't have. Go ahead, Rashad.
I think it starts at childhood.
Absolutely.
Or lack of father structure too.
Absolutely.
That positive male role models. Kenny, you got sons, right? So you raising them, right? You've been raising them. I think it's important to tell people, a lot of people don't know what sexual assault is.
Yeah.
They just think that they're just being aggressive. They don't know, you know what I mean? You making somebody uncomfortable, you crossing lines, you're doing this, and then once you cross one line, you cross a million lines. So I think it really starts with educating people, men and women. If you want to be honest,
they got to be willing to listen. That's why I love y'all so much. Like y'all really are talking about things that matter and have substance, and things that can not only grow someone's financial place and footing in this world, but can, be passed down and shared. But the problem is the Ponzi scheme niggas you all know. And the niggas always trying to get over. And fucking master classes with no education. Like, it's a fucking cash grab for too many,
How do we get here?
You gotta burn the shit down.
How do we get here?
No, I'm just saying, but you gotta burn the shit down. Y'all are leading by listen, and I want to say this, y'all are leading by example. Investfest is the biggest thing you'll create under this current ecosystem you got going on. That's fucking curriculum. That's all types of shit. None of this other shit matters, man. Mandii, you fucking have a strong opinion. You have a place here. Like, you have a strong voice. People, let's fuck what anybody says. Like, you made all valid points. If somebody can't hear it, they're part of the problem.
But it's part of the problem in the culture, because if they're not willing to have respect, imagine what they're doing in private. That's why I asked that monster question.
I agree.
There's a lot of people who beating on the why didn't anything say about Diddy? It's 9 other monsters in the same industry nobody will say shit about. Right fucking now.
Yeah, but to the point,
though, nobody know.
Ian,
okay.
You're absolutely right. But people don't.
You're scared. You motherfuckers are scared and want to dick ride and want to be close to them. That's what it is.
But nobody.
Hold on. Who? You saying that like you talking to me? Make it clear.
No, me and you friends. We're not doing that.
Okay, yeah.
Come on. We're not doing that.
Yeah. No, I'm saying, but they don't know you're my brother. They don't.
Yeah. We friends in real life. Yeah.
But no. All right.
That's hilarious.
Okay.
Rashad, go ahead.
Well, I just think that
you about to
we don't want to go down a rabbit hole of calling people out, because that's not helpful either.
But you got to ignore them. Giving people the platform makes them heard. If they didn't have a platform and wouldn't be heard, you could have all thoughtful people. No one in this conversation has totally banished Puff into the fucking oblivion. We might not agree with his choices. He clearly's done some things. We're all like, oh shit. But we're not like kill, you know what I mean? Like, we're not saying go away and die. Like, we're saying we want you, the people listening, to learn from these mistakes.
That's it.
The people that don't want to learn and want to be like, nah, fuck that. Okay, you're part of the problem. Oh, nah, Cassie wanted it. You're part of the problem. These are things that why this internet shit should blow up.
We have to train our sons better. And I mean, Nas said this in '96, right? We have to more conscious of the way we raise our daughters, because it's a two-way street. Women have to learn self-respect at a young age. Women have to learn the value of themselves at a young age. Women have to learn that just because a man is rich doesn't mean that you have to do anything that he tells you to do, and that has to be taught to your daughters. Men have to learn that women are not your property, and you just can't do whatever you want with them.
Out your money,
and feed them pills. Like, so we all have to do a better job at raising children.
Absolutely.
Yeah, we gotta get back to the community, be able to say something to your children. Back in the day, your neighbor would reprimand you. Your neighbor would put you in your, I don't know. I appreciate this conversation. I'm glad y'all created Blackout, man. I think it's a real viable thing. All of y'all are some intelligent human beings, and thank you for having me.
Kenny, I appreciate you, brother. Mandii, I appreciate you. I just had to wake it up, but I appreciate
a little bit. You did. You shook the table.
I had to wake it up a little bit. It's only entertainment, but more so the entertainment. It is good to have multiple points of views, because it does spark needed conversation. But you're needed as far as what you do. I think that it's not something that everybody may agree with as far as the sexual conversation, but it is an important conversation, because that's one of the most important aspects of life, and that gets people into a lot of different things, right? A lot of different things. So how do we do things in responsible manners, respect boundaries, have people feel safe is important. That's important.
And I got to give Kenny credit too, because Kenny, you was having a lot of these conversations early in Atlanta. 08, 09, that whole Boys in the Hood run. So for those who are new to Kenny was having these conversations before they got popular. I promise you.
before the internet.
Mm-hmm.
Before
All
the
the
hit.
flights
So
and the
before
after
before
gold
social
road.
media.
Yep.
Before we wrap, do you guys have anything that you would like to say to our audience? Mandii, our audience does love you. Let's not don't feel
I know
offended.
I'm seeing mixture. It's cool. I mean, for me, like I said, I'm open to people having different points of views. Like I talk about on my new pod, Selective Ignorance. But for what I've seen my brand specifically be able to do in the last 8 years is create that community and safe space that we don't have as a community to figure out what we enjoy sexually in a safe way with partners that respect us. And so I understand there's a lot of people still navigating the things that they like. I understand there's still a lot of judgment in that space, but what I've been able to create and how our people specifically have learned about themselves, have gained confidence, and have been able to create their boundaries, I'm never taking that away. And I just hope that we continue to have these types of open conversations that don't lead people to being in fear of sharing the things that they enjoy, especially if it's not harming anyone else. I didn't say it earlier, but my book is titled No Holes Barred. It is available wherever you get books. And I do share things in there that may be triggering. I talk about my own sexual assault, my own navigation of finding self-love. I talk about the things that I've done that I'm not proud of either. Because at the end of the day, we can talk about being monsters. We can talk about not having self-worth. There's a lot of ways in which we just talked about we didn't learn as children. And so unfortunately, we're all newborns as adults navigating this space of finding love and partnership and sexuality from scratch, especially if you are 28 plus. I think Gen Z has a lot more of a runway to experience themselves and learn more and have way more vocabulary than we did. So there does need to be grace, but also as grown as men and women, we know not to lay hands on each other, and we know a little bit between right and wrong in the bedroom. We know it. And we know all what the fuck no means. So I just want us to all hold ourselves accountable and the people around us accountable. And this is coming from a New York Times bestseller.
Yeah.
Congratulations. I want
That's
to say
incredible.
my last words are like the algorithm is the new crack, and you have to start weaning off the algorithm. You need to amplify voices like Earn Your Leisure and the Master Investor and Mandii, people who are giving you information, who are not shaming you, who make you feel comfortable about the things that you are trying to accomplish in this world. I think that these types of people need the amplification. We don't need to keep amplifying people that do not give a fuck about you. And I'm saying this to the culture, y'all. Like these owners of these social sites, they don't care. They're feeding you the things they want you to have. If streaming is the new craze, but you don't have to have any talent to do it, and I'm not saying everybody, but I'm saying how many times can you set yourself on fire or race somebody or spend a night with your friends for, whatever. Like this shit is not substantive and it's not going to last. So please amplify the right voices, y'all. You have the power. And this shit don't work without your participation.
Absolutely.
Appreciate both of you guys
Yeah,
for joining us. Thank you so much. Friend of
Love you in real life.
And real for
Thank
real.
you
In real life.
guys.
My
You heard
God.
me up
Thanks,
past my
Mandii.
bedtime. If anyone's at Essence Fest this weekend, pull up, say hi. I'm interviewing Candy Burris from 2 to 3.
Oh, that's fire.
So see you guys at Essence Fest.
I forgot. I'm hosting Essence Main Stage Friday, Saturday, and
Oh,
Sunday.
I'll be main stage Friday as well.
Yeah.
So I'll see you, Kenny, this weekend.
Yes. Looking forward to it.
Appreciate y'all.
Love y'all dearly.
Love you back.
All right. Okay. All right.
We made it through, brother. We did good.
We did good, man. I
Did good.
It got a little tipsy turvy, but it's
We
needed.
have to have honest conversations in the community. We have to. We have to. Respectful discourse. And Kenny is cool in real life, like honest person in real life. He was waking these conversations up in Atlanta in 07. For those of you who were there, 05, 06, 07, 08. He was talking that talk then in Slice and Midtown and Gold Room. Shout out to Kobe Campbell, Omo White. Ooh, legendary times in the A. So yeah, but yeah, that lesson of whatever you do in the past will show up. And also too, you have to know who you can go to war with and who you can't. He overplayed his hand thinking he could win this war versus that family that operates in a family structure and got his head torn off. There are many ways to kill a man. Sometimes it's better to kill a man and let him live on earth to know that I put the bullet out on you.
Damn. That's real.
To the kids, sometimes the sins of the father falls on the sons, but the actions of the sons can hang the father. Y'all better lay low.
Is that in the Bible?
That's from me. Ian and Lathan. 8:15. That's for me. What? What? My dad, grandma, mom raised me well and taught me a lot. You have to be careful. The sins of the father may fall on the sons, but the actions of the son may hang the father. Be honorable. It's a lot of y'all who get to moving sideways and not knowing people will sit on you for 14 years to get your kid or your grandkid. Got to be careful. And them powers to be up there. When you get to digging in it's the part so much we can't say, but when you get to digging and I want to see the financials and all that shit, you're waking up some atrocities that they're doing. Oh no, we're not about to let you uncover a global scandal for some shit we did because your black ass want equity here. Be careful. Be careful. It's the real nobody bigger than the program. Be careful. I don't like who said it, but it's some truth in that shit. When you got to go into talking to Mexico and I want to go talk to New Jalisco about the agave, oh boy. Wrong motherfucking battle. Be careful. But lucky. Be careful. That's all I'll say.
Yeah.
If Puff is the real Suge, who the real Puff?
He got non-law, I'll tell you that much, man.
For sure.
So hopefully he learned.
Sure.
He learned because no matter how much time he gets, whether it's 5, 7, he's coming home. Eventually he'll be back home. So I really hope he take this opportunity because man, Suge got 30 years in jail. R. Kelly got life in jail. Like there's a bunch of people, like he was facing 2 life charges. And to make it out, what looks like could potentially be from 2 to 5 years, he got non-lives. Brian Steele, the last thing.
Brian Steele.
You know, he wasn't the main lawyer, I don't think, in this case. Because he did like the OJ thing. He had a bunch of different lawyers.
Yeah.
But he's still tied to it, obviously, because he was a lawyer on the team. But he beat 2 RICO cases in 6 months.
That's an insane run.
Is Brian still the best lawyer in the game right now?
I'm on the criminal side for right now, for sure. For sure.
Dirk needs him.
Nobody bigger than the program. Prayers to Dirk. Shout out to everybody from the Midwest. But once again, like the things that you do, that's the tricky part. My mom would tell me all the time, whatever you text, they'll be able to retrieve it 80 years from now. I don't care how much you delete it. Whatever you say, always think, whatever you write, whatever voice note, whatever pictures y'all be putting in vanish mode, what does it look like in a docket? Because when that docket coming, it's this thick. They bring them binders in. Now with ChatGPT, to analyze intentions is very easy. We ain't even talked about the legal LLMs and the preemptive crime LLMs that are worth hundreds of millions. Be careful. But most of all, move honorably.
And no matter what you do, in due time comes back to you. I was in Asia 7 years ago, and I met a Hindu priest. and he told me something I never
You lived
forget.
a hell of a life, yo. Wait, what? Wait, you did the Wimby before Wimby? Okay. That's tough.
He said you got to keep your karma clean.
Have to.
Keep your karma clean.
Mm-hmm.
That's important. That's important.
All the time. Anytime I be out, somebody, hey, yeah, not every time. Tell my little baby, hey, I'm so happy I moved honorably, because if I didn't, one of these people would have got the drop on me. All the people we run into and not had one scuffle, oh, thank God. That's the product of moving honorably. Be careful. And people out here are hurting too. Be careful.
No means no. And
For
you
sure.
got to have some level of self-restraint.
Mm-hmm.
It's important. Are those Cartier glasses?
No, they're not. They're fake. They're Cardi B glasses.
Cardi B glasses.
Outside. New single dropping soon. Atlantic. What? Also, another thing too. All that over excessive moving flashy. There's a bunch of different tiers of people who are going to take that money from you. To my brother, hold your head. It's tears. I keep telling y'all. You know how much discipline it takes for me to not go get a diamond rhinestone jacket for my thing. For what? You putting a target on your back to look good for 2 summers. Be careful. Move on honor. If I made you money, please put yes in chat.
Okay.
And that's a last conversation. Most of the industries that are selling you money, wealth, fame don't have them. That's how a lot of y'all get in that trick bag of selling your rights and your body, men and women. They're selling you an illusion for. If you can't get on Indeed or Glassdoor or see what the pay is for the shit they're promising, artists and entertainers included, the money's not fucking there.
Invisible bag that's never coming.
If so, Endeavor, William Morris, CAA, UTA would have aggregated into that space. There's no value there. I was telling y'all this shit about podcasting 2 years ago. Now it's all these horror stories about people getting $12 an hour or 100 an episode and their rights are taken. It's a bag that's never coming. Me and Rashad make this look good. And most of them podcasts y'all see online, they ain't getting living a facade at best. I'm the only person in the world. If I made you money, please put yes in chat. And every time that shit go, one of one. Get your tickets to Investfest.
Vitally important.
Most important year.
That's a fact. That's a fact. What 19 Keys said, 1 year left.
The other Alexander Wayne got $14.6 billion for a partnership at Meta. What? Brian, call me. I'm so mad my boy got sent away. What? Shouty, all the fighters say I play. Ooh, boy. Robert Smith, somebody bundle. But is that an automatic PK watch? Who can watch that?
It's a PK.
A PK. Oh,
sign of the times.
Ooh, a Laudermere.
Oh man. All right, ladies and gentlemen. Well, I thought that this was a great conversation.
I do too.
And I think that it was a needed conversation. Prayers to everybody in the world, and everybody that's affected. Remember, no always means no. If you don't remember anything else, just remember that. And last word to Diddy is that hopefully, you can learn from this experience and make good in the world, because you still obviously have a lot of money, influence, and time. Who knows how much time he has left, but it's never too late. It's never too late. So you're given second chances for a reason. No matter what you believe, as far as your religious beliefs, whatever, you're only given second chances for a reason. that means that you're giving an opportunity, right? So he's granted an opportunity, no matter how you feel about it, no matter how you feel about the situation. He's granted an opportunity, and hopefully he makes the best of the opportunity he's been granted.
I can't believe Mandii and Kenny said they don't think he's canceled forever.
Oh,
What do you think? What do you think he's going to do when he gets out?
Just lay low. He's not. What is he? What are you going to do? What's Bill Cosby doing? Bill Cosby's home. Like people don't even know Bill Cosby.
Yeah,
home,
right?
That's how low. That's how low Bill Cosby is.
Mhm.
Bill Cosby been home for about 2 years now. People don't even know. When's the last time you saw Bill Cosby?
Yelling at Theo.
Like
reruns.
You think Bill Cosby is trying to start a podcast and going on tour? Like, no.
Do you think they have two different ego sets though? I think. You don't think he can? I ain't gonna say it on here, but.
But we'll see. Only time could tell.
Yeah.
He's resilient, so who knows? Anything is possible.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
For you other podcasters, be careful what you say. Be careful. I'll say that. Be careful. Be careful.
Be careful, ladies and gentlemen.
All right.
It's been real.
I cannot wait for Market Mondays. NVIDIA, AMD, back to normal. Whew. You did good, brother. I'm proud of you. Good show. I thought it was gonna go left for a little bit, but
No. It's all entertainment. You gotta navigate it.
Yeah. You gotta spice it up a bit.
I think it was good, man. Thank you for taking time out of your night to go live. This is live.
Mm-hmm.
So we had the 10 o'clock at night or 9 o'clock where you're at to go live. So I appreciate.
It's a blessing to get to do these things. That's another part I want to tell entrepreneurs. Stop saying I have to do something and think of the blessing it is that you get to do it.
Yeah.
That's a lot of times where the opportunity gets taken away, going back to creating out of hate or love. If you love what you do, you'll find a way to have joy in it. And thank everybody for tuning in tonight.
Thank you. Thank you, guys. Important conversations need to be had. We got Ralph McDaniels tomorrow at 6 o'clock. Get your tickets to Investfest, investfest.com. I announced it earlier in the show. I don't know if there's any left, but if there are, there's a block discount. You can enter code block and get 50% off for vendor booths and tickets. Next week, Market Mondays, we got a lot to talk about. Stock market's at an all-time high. I'm sure Trump will probably be saying something crazy. Elon Musk probably going blackout between then. China, Mexico, who knows? But I'm sure something is going to happen between now and Monday.
Apple still won't invest in a significant AI project. Tune in.
Ianinvest.com if you would like to get the best entries into the stock market, know where to invest, know where to exit. Vitally important if you are interested in maximizing your gains in the stock market.
Sexual discipline is key. Most important lesson. Sexual discipline is key.
Sexual discipline.
Yep.
And you know what somebody told us, very highly regarded person. You know the best thing that Jay-Z did?
Got married.
Saved him.
Got married.
Potentially. Diddy should have got married. It would have saved his life.
To who?
Somebody.
Yeah.
It would have saved his life.
Yep. It's one thing to have all the options in the world. All the options in the world ends up being the risk, though, and the destruction. Gotta be careful.
So, are you getting married?
You first, then, man.
Bet.
Yeah.
Bet.
Yeah. In due time, though.
It's needed.
Yeah, for sure.
It's important. 1, 2, 3.
Like rings? Oh, you back to the cow conversation.
The cow
Yeah.
conversation.
See, this how no. You better do like that single in 99. 1, 1, 1, 1.
The
Hey,
dowry. The
don't
dowry.
exceed the limits.
Don't exceed the limits. Don't exceed the limits.
Yep.
All right, guys. It's been real. Thank you guys for tuning in.
Yep.
Oh, I forgot. Corner Kids. This is my Support Black brand initiative. The Corner Kids, shout out to them. Sent me this shirt. Shout out to them. And I've been wearing this hat a lot too. The Les Patrons.
Yeah, that's fine.
You know, EYOL, it's been y'all on the way. Shout out to all my Dominicans, Puerto Ricans, Colombians, Mexicans. Vitally important.
La Marina vibes.
La Marina.
Boy, yo no sé. Buenos noches. Love y'all.
Yes. You know that. All right, guys. Peace.
Peace.